checkered flag for you on Baseball Tonight. Barry continues to zoom in front as the Giants and Braves collide in Atlanta. The Mets continue to look as if they're making a 500-mile left-hand turn. Mcdowell tried to jack up the flat White Sox, while the Angels continue to roar past them in the AL West. And the Reds continue to run circles around the Mets. The Dodgers try to stay in overdrive. So do the Royals. While the Mets, well, you know. Gentlemen, start your engines. Baseball Tonight is good. Well, kind of a racy beginning, don't you think? Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Berman, along with the 95 bullpen coach of the Colorado Rockies, Peter Gammons. Welcome to Baseball Tonight. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Hope you're having a good one. Put another shrimp on the barbie for us. We'll be by in a couple of hours. We are cooking for the next hour. A showdown series in Atlanta, one in which the Braves were supposed to show the NL West front-running San Francisco Giants who was the boss. After winning Friday night, the Braves figured they were on their way. They figured wrong. Here we go. They figured they're on their way today because Tom Glavine was 7-0. And early on, facing Will Clark, he got him looking. Interesting byplay between the Giants manager, Dusty Baker, and third base coach of the Braves, Jimmy Williams. Dusty claiming that Williams was harassing his pitcher, Jeff Brantley. Sid Bream did the harassing in the second inning. Sends it back, and it is gone. Homer number 4 of the year for L. Sid, 1-0 Braves. In the third inning, Terry Pitt and the Pendleton. The shot down the right field line. Deion Sanders scores, but Willie McGee can still throw. You don't believe me? Watch this throw to try and get Jeff see-through Blauser at the plate. Boom! Man-wearing holds onto the ball. The Braves lead only 2-0. Interesting call in the third. As Matt Williams struck out, the Giants double steal. What that does is take the bat out of the hands of Barry Bonds, because the intentional pass. The next batter, Willie McGee, grounded to second to end the inning. Remember the sequence. Top of the fifth, Glavine's 20-inning scoreless streak is broken by Robbie Thompson. He extends his hitting streak to 20 games with a single in this homer. It's 3-1 Braves. Bobby Cox reading how to pitch Bonds. Well, on the top of the seventh with runners at the corners, you watch Glavine, Bonds, and the right fielder. Tell me what happens. Yeah. If you don't believe that, look. Yeah. Do you think it's gone? Back, gone. 3-run shot. Bonds is 14th. 4-3 San Francisco. Giants have had great D all year. Watch the catcher, Kurt Manwaring, make the sliding grab to get his counterpart, Greg Olson. And in the ninth, Ron Gant the shot to left with a man on. But no, sir. Rod Beck saves number 13. Dave Berbershave gets the win out of the pen. Do they still make that stuff? His mark is up to 5-2. Glavine loses for the first time all year. Giants take 2 of 3 in Atlanta. They are back up by 5 games on the Atlanta Braves. Barry Bonds against Atlanta this year, 3 homers, 12 ribbies. In the playoffs, as a Pirate, only 1 homer and 2 RBIs. Now, when Bonds homers, as he did today, the Giants are an amazing 11-2. What I think is even more amazing is that when he doesn't homer, they are 22-16. And if you compute that 580 percentage, Peter, 22-16, you compute it to 162-game season, that would be 94 wins, which a lot of pennants have been won by teams doing less. What Bonds has meant, obviously, today and the whole season speaks for itself as they win, whether he homers or not.
Well, Chris, you know, I mean, what this whole team has done, I mean, it's the defense. They're much more just a home run team, but I think really important. First time the Giants and the Braves played, he hit this home run. First inning off Greg Maddox, 3-run shot. It established Giants, boys are in town. Then today, the tremendous 3-run homer that he hit off Glavine to win the game. I mean, to me, those are the 2 biggest home runs in baseball this year. I'm sorry, you just can't replace that kind of player.
Another note for the Giants, and coincidence or not, Will Clark and the Giants decided they won't talk contract for a couple of months. Sounds like after the All-Star break. Will Clark in the series, 3 hits Friday night, 2 hits Saturday, 2 hits today, had 7 hits in the series. Frankly, and I think you agree with me, I mean, Will Clark is too good a hit. I don't think contract talks have anything to do with it. In a 6-month span, he is going to start to hit, and he did so at the right time against the Braves. Let's go to the Braves MVP, Terry Pendleton. And let's go back to Wednesday night when, in a disagreement with Marvin Freeman over the way they were pitching the Reds, Pendleton just simply walked off the field. Peter, I'd never seen that before. Can you back this move?
Well, I've never seen it either. The way I look at it, you see, when I talked to Pendleton, he really felt that, well, he was trying to send a message. He was trying to get something across. Last year, about this time when the Braves were struggling, he ripped his teammates for living off of previous season's press clippings. He's trying to send the same sort of message. Unfortunately, I think Bobby Cox said it, called it unprofessional and called it frustration. It was the wrong thing for the right reason. But the great thing about the Braves, you've got Pendleton, who always faces the truth. Bobby Cox is a master of dealing with reality. Everyone got together. They worked it all out. And I don't think it's going to carry over at all.
Well, remember last year at about this time, or certainly in late May, the Braves were languishing below 500 and were trailing the Giants. We know what happened. But a big statement by San Francisco, winning 2 of 3 in Atlanta after losing the first game. No question about that. When the season began, you knew all about Chicago's Jack McDowell. Any discussion of AL aces had to include his name. But Bob Wickman? Yeah, I don't think so. All Wickman has done over late last year and early this year is go 11-1, the best Yankee start since Whitey Ford went 15-1. Of course, it does help to have your teammates score for you, as both Wickman and McDowell have certainly had runs scored for them over 6 a game. They were hoping for bat support. Yankees and Palehose faced off in New York. Wickman looking to go 6-0, getting help from defense. Mike Stanley gunning down Robin Ventura. In the 4th inning, Ventura, Tinker Evers to chance, I don't know. Kelly, Gallego, Leyritz, but they get the job done. Chicago went into 3 DPs. But McDowell induced the Yankees to hit into double play balls as well. Against Paul O'Neill. We'll go around the horn. Ventura starting at 5-4-3 DP. Bottom of the 3rd, Randy Velarde hits into, guess what? The 6-3 DP. 4th complete game of the year for McDowell and 11 starts. But offense, even though Chicago got some for a while from George Taco Bell, this base hit scoring Tim Raines and Joey Albacora give Chicago a 2-1 lead. In the bottom of the 4th, the offense was supplied by the Yanks. He's got the sweet swing with the short porch, and with 2 men on in the bottom of the 4th, boom, Kevin No Mas. This buds for him, a 3-run shot, 4-2 New York. In the 6th inning, Wickman had to leave with a irritation to his middle finger, but the bullpen did a good job. Remember they struggled in April? Steve Farr gets Ventura looking. Yankee relief today, 3 2/3 innings overall, no hits, walked only 1. Gallego with a 2-run homer, 6 straight losses for the Palehose as the Yankees win at 6-3. Wickman over McDowell. The White Sox woes continue. Their last 12 games in which they've gone only 2-10. You can see what's gone on. Runs a game have gone down over 2 runs a game. The batting average is down almost 50 points. Home runs are way down, so the White Sox in a little hitting slump. The Rangers at the Red Sox. Kevin Kennedy concerned about Tom Henke for a while. In the 9th inning, Henke struggled. Here he hits Scott Fletcher to load the bases. And then on 4 pitches, he walked Billy Hatcher. Tying run scores 4 extra innings. Top of the 10th. Julio Franco pinch hitting. Base hit to left. Rafael Emerson Lake and Palmeiro scores. Rangers lead at 5-4. Sac fly for Boston ties it in the 10th, and we go to the 12th. The Hawk, Andre Dawson. Off the glove of Dean Palmer at 3rd. Then Kennedy elects to walk Bob Zupzik intentionally in order to get to the shortstop, John Valentin. But as Joe Hesketh dubbed him, the man who shot Liberty Valentin made the Rangers pay. Pinch runner, Tony Jalapeno scores. It's a wild game. Billy Hatcher played second base. Jeff Bronke, they ran out of players, so the pitcher for the Rangers had to bat in the 12th inning. And Boston sweeps Texas. They win at 6-5 in 12. Jose Flying Melendez gets the win out of the pen to beat Bronke, as the Rangers have lost 4 straight games. Well, Jose Canseco has been in the limelight for quite some time, but I don't think he's ever had a week, at least such a diversified week, as the one which just ended. In case you have forgotten, Jose's week, well, in Cleveland on Monday, this you've seen before. Tape measure jobs by Jose, way up in the red seats off Dennis Cook. Now, on Wednesday in Cleveland, Jose did something new in right field. Off the shot from Carlos Martinez. Doink off his head for a home run. Yes, it did go off his head. Jose always has been impressed with Pele. Well, the World Cup is coming to the U.S. next year, so he's fired up. Problem, though, later in the game, Jose thinks the ball is gone or foul, doesn't hustle after the ball hit by Baerga. Fermin scores. Baerga winds up on third. Cleveland wins by 1 run. Then, yesterday in Boston, in relief, down 15-1, he pitched the 8th, missed to Calderon. Tony Pena even takes the pitch behind the Hawk. Then against Mo Vaughn, well, he's going to give up some hits. Oh, by the way, Jose missed today's game with a migraine. Did come in with the game on the line as a pinch hitter, but struck out. And week began big time for Jose. Certainly ended a little differently, Peter. Now, you and I both know Jose, and I think we know him pretty well. He's very likable. A lot of people think he's a jerk. That is not the case at all. He's likable. He's smart, but sometimes he forgets himself, doesn't he?
He does, and you're right. He is very funny. He's got a real sense of timing. He's very intelligent, and after all, his grandfather was a Supreme Court justice in Cuba. I mean, for instance, one time I was doing a magazine story on him, and I had to drive out to his house, and I asked him for directions, and it was right after he'd had several run-ins with the gendarmes from Miami to Arizona. They looked at me and he said, "You can't do this story without driving with me, can you?" I mean, he understood. He wrote my lead for me. But there's a problem. I mean, Texas Rangers pitchers didn't think it was very funny when he headed the ball over the fence and didn't go after the other ball and was laughing about it. That's not funny. Yesterday was an embarrassment. And I think that if I'm George Bush owning that team, I'm a little upset that what went on at the end of that game with the clowning around on the field. It was unprofessional. Jose is a celebrity, no question. He can't go anywhere. Walter Weiss used to call him Elvis. But there's a problem. He is a celebrity because he's a baseball player, not vice versa. And I think sometimes he forgets that. And I think he needs to get back to remembering, because he's not the same player that he was 3 or 4 years ago.
When he remembers he's a ball player, he's about as good as there is. And he'll remember as time goes on this season for the Rangers. But that's a week. He'll see that highlight, I think, a few times. Maybe even on this station, the same bat channel. We have only just begun on our holiday weekend 1-hour edition of Baseball Tonight as we steamroll towards Tigers Mariners at the top of the hour. We'll look at the surprising versatility of the Motor City Kitties. And we'll look at the rest of the American League. Kansas City Royals have been red hot. Mike McFarland tried to keep the streak going. Speaking of red hot, how about the Dodgers? Could 12 straight be within their reach, or could the Pirates buck the trend? Stay with us. Baseball Tonight. Chris Berman along with Peter Gammons. 2 weeks ago tomorrow, the L.A. Dodgers began a homestand, limping into town at 8 below 500. Down 3 in the 9th to the Reds. They tied the game, then won it in the 10th. Tommy Lasorda was hopeful that this could be the start of a Dodger run. It's been a marathon. They won 11 straight, starting with that comeback, heading into this afternoon's tilt at Pittsburgh. Lasorda and the Dodgers looking skyward for win number 12, the great Dodger in the sky. Brett Butler lifts one to foul ground. Look at Jay Bell continue to play the superb shortstop and makes the play. 5th inning, 1-0 Pirates. Kevin Gross, they walked Merced intentionally. He didn't like it. Jeff King makes them pay. They rip a double down the line. Al Martin and Merced score. Kinger had 3 RBIs on the day. But let's not forget, remember the Dodgers 0-9 on an artificial turf until they passed the turf farm? The magical turf. Could it help? Carlos Hernandez facing Steve Cook. And Carlos, with a rare day off for Piazza behind the plate for a home run. His first since April 14th. LA on the board down 3-1. Could it be the turf? The magical turf. In the 8th inning, Tim Eli Wallach. Eli's coming. Hide your heart, girl. A 2-run shot. His 6th homer of the year. LA down 4-3. Is it the turf? The bottom of the 8th inning. The luck runs out as Jay Bell fists one off Mcdowell. Garcia scores. And all good things must come to a close. 11-game winning streak. Well, the turf browned a little bit. Needs a little water there. Hey, the Dodgers will take 11 out of 12 anytime. The Pirates finally bust through, and Steve Cook's been pitching very well. Stan Belinda Carlisle on with save number 10, and Pittsburgh wins it by a count of 5-3. A couple weeks ago, we were out in L.A. during the start of this thing, and I had a long talk with Brett Butler, who is a professional in the true sense of the word. And I said, compare the Dodgers. Now, remember, they were still 7 below 500 at this time. Compare these Dodgers to last year's Dodgers. He said, not even a question. This is before their winning streak. He said, we are much more professional. The attitude, Peter, here this year is much more different. And I guess we've seen that attitude come to the forefront the last 2 weeks.
Chris, they really are a very different team. And still without Darryl Strawberry in the lineup. But what's a big difference? I think Jose Offerman's been a big change. He's played very consistently at shortstop, and since he's moved into the second spot, has been a real offensive force. Last year at times, it was embarrassing. Well, it's been nothing but consistent in this streak. Jody Reed and Tim Wallach have given them consistent pros at second and third. Piazza's terrific. He's thrown out 40% of the runners. Offerman's played better. You've got Brett Butler in center field. And a very unnoticed thing, Todd Royal has not been there. Their bullpen is the best ERA in the National League. They haven't lost a game that they've led from the seventh inning on. A lot of credit should go to Roger McDowell and Pedro Martinez and the rest of the guys in those bullpen.
Yeah, Jim Gott and company. So the Dodgers now, I think they can be a factor in this race, and why not if you win 11 out of 12. Denver's Mile High Stadium has been a fun place to be this season. Hadn't it? Fun to be Rockies fan to the tune of 70,000 a game. Fun to hit the ball in the rarefied air of Denver. And especially fun to be a visiting club coming into town for the first time, like the Gas House Gang Philadelphia Phillies. In fact, the only ones not having fun are the Rockies pitchers. Just ask Lance Painter and Gary Wayne. Each were painted black today. Here we go. Tommy Green trying to start the season 7-0. He whiffs Alex Cole. Green, a complete game 6 hitter. Fifth inning, Darren Dalton against Lance Painter. Deep to right, back. Gone. Homer number 14, 1-0 Phillies. 2 batters later in the fifth. Kim Batiste on first. Tommy Green, he's the pitcher. Hits the home run. Green went 3 for 4 today. 2 batters later. Mariano Duncan. Back. Gone. 3 homers in the fifth. Against Gary Wayne later on in the game. Don Baylor saw the Phillies hit 3 homers in another inning. 18-1. The Phillies win. They win the series 39-10 over the weekend. Tommy Green is now 7-0. The Phillies' record of 34-14 is the best in baseball. Expos at the Cubs. John McSherry looked to the skies and said, guess what? This just in is rain. An hour and 11-minute rain delay at Wrigley. Rain so hard that you think the fish could play baseball. Men play this game in the rain like Rick Wilkins, taking the foul ball away from the fan for the catch. And Wilkins takes this ball to the fans off Ken Bottenfield for his 6th homer of the year. 3-0 Cubs. 3 batters later. Dwight Smith strides to the plate. And Smitty off Bottenfield. Goods one back, and it's gone. His 6th homer of the year. Go ahead, give him a kiss, Dwight. Cubs win. Cubs win. 5-2. They've had a lot of rain there, but lately the Cubs have won it. They beat Montreal 5-2. Reds at the Mets. You know about third baseman for the Mets, Tim Humphrey Bogart, now the 95th third baseman in the history of the Mets. Oh, looks like he'll be here for 15 years, right? But Chris Sabo knows how to play some third. Nice backhand against Charlie O'Brien. Makes the throw. Then the defense breaks down. Bobby Kelly, the ground ball. Mets do get the force at second. Now, fittingly, Jacob Brumfield was just brought up from Indianapolis. I think he runs 500 miles in this rundown. 5-4 to 6-4 to 6 to 8 to 4 to 9. And he's saved. Dallas Green can't believe it. That's if you're scoring at home. Now, if you're also scoring at home, make 4 lines to the left and a dot in the middle for Barry Larkin. It's gone. And in the dugout, hey, Raybo, we get Ray some airtime every Sunday, don't we? The Reds lead at 4-2. Bobby Bonilla had the bat working. 2 homers today off Tom Browning. He's touched Browning 10 times in his career. We're tied at 4. Top of the 7th, same score. They intentionally walk Reggie Sanders? No. First pitch to Joe Oliver with 2 on. Guess what? When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're the Mets. Reds down 7-4. Bottom of the 7th, bases loaded, 3-0 count. Bobby Ayala against Bonilla. The fans are pumped, especially the guy wearing the Marlin hat. Bonilla, the drive to center field. Back goes Bobby Kelly. Back. Oh, he may not have made the play as Roberto, but as Bobby Kelly makes the catch. Davey Johnson, without the stash, says, I knew he'd get it. Bottom of the 9th, Rob Dibble. First appearance since the DL. K's Hojo to end the game. So the Reds take 2 of 3. Good homecoming for Davey Johnson, Ray Knight, former Mets. The Mets continue to struggle, and maybe this is the light at the end of the tunnel for the Cincinnati Reds as they win today by the count of 8-4. Peter, I mean, let's not even question the fact that we know Davey Johnson will do a good job as manager of the Cincinnati Reds, but he would do a good job as manager of the 27 other teams. Why he's been out of baseball over 3 years is a mystery to a lot of us. But look back at the whole Tony Perez incident. Isn't this an embarrassment?
Well, it's an embarrassment in that it comes right from the top. It comes from Marge. I mean, I think it's very evident that Jim Bowden wanted Davey Johnson last October. Marge was in some trouble for things she reportedly said. She needed Tony Perez, icon, also a minority. He came in as manager, but there's a great deal of pressure for Marge on Bowden to win. They have close to the highest payroll in baseball. Very expensive team. She comes back on November 1st. For Bowden's job security, they had better won. And I think he felt that he had to make the move right now, but it's just a lot of chaos there, and it's really too bad, but it all comes from up above.
Well, maybe the Reds can straighten it. Everything's forgotten if you win, and maybe they can straighten it out on the field. Johnson may be the guy to do so, but Tony Perez, let's see him back in baseball, maybe with the Marlins soon.
I think
right?
so.
That's the way it's pointing, because obviously a lot of fans down there for Tony Perez. Plenty to come, but first, as we go inside the numbers, surprised that the Phils swept the Rockies? Well, you really shouldn't be, because Colorado's record at home is the worst in baseball, and the Phillies' record on the road is the best in baseball. That helps explain 39-10. When we return, a tour, including a big day for the G-Man, Gary Gaetti. We'll be back. The start of the game, but field was never to the liking of Hippolito Pichardo. He walked Bill Spires. That brings up Greg Vaughn, the dangerous Greg Vaughn, and walks him too. Then Kevin Reimer-Reason from Enderby, British Columbia. Grounds it to David Howard. Howard juggles it. Spires scores. 1-0 Brewers. Still in the first, B.J. Surhoff finally hitting again this week. Line drive to right center field. Vaughn scores. Reimer scores. 3-0 Milwaukee after 1. 3-2 in the 7th, and Reimer hits one back, and it is gone. His 8th home run of the year, 8-2 Milwaukee. That was plenty for Bill Wegman. He'd lost his earlier complete games this year. Had young pitching staff, Navarro, Eldred, Wegman. Big part of the fact that the Brewers, starting on Wednesday with a game we did in Toronto on Wednesday Night Baseball, have won 4 of their last 5. They beat the Royals today by the count of 8-2. Despite a few hits for Wally Absor-Bean Joyner. Oh, wait a minute. The Angels have had the grip on the situation all year long. Both in the press box, and Gary Gaetti makes the play against the Orioles. Bottom of the inning, Rene Gonzalez at second, 1 out. Gaetti, the G-Man's been struggling, but to face it up, Jamie Moyer. Gonzalez scores, 1-0 Angels. 2 batters later, Ron Tingley, the last major leaguer on an opening day roster to get a base hit, and we just brought it to you on Baseball Tonight. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and Stan Javier, the seeing eye single, came in and don't come easily, and Gary Gaetti scored, 3-0 Angels. Tim Sockeye Salmon with the home run. The youngsters 9th. Boy, the Angels sat on the Orioles early. Their first sweep of Baltimore since 1978. The Angels, front runners in the West, up their mark to 7 above 500. And the Orioles now fall 9 below 500. Well, Kansas City did lose it, but they had been playing well as of late, Peter, and certainly California's been playing very well. Is it possible that California or Kansas City could come out of the West this year? What do you think?
I think it's a possibility, Chris. California's got the pitching, and they're awfully young, especially in the middle of the order, although they may get Kelly Gruber back at the end of this week. The big question with this club is going to be the bullpen. They're really struggling out there. However, remember, the other key, other than J.T. Snow, in the Jim Abbott trade, was Russ Springer, who, when he was in the bullpen for the Yankees last September, was throwing 95 miles an hour with a tremendous knuckle curve. Well, they're moving him into relief right now up in Vancouver. He's going to pitch tonight and Tuesday, bring him up at the end of the week. If he should ever get hot and give them about 6 or 8 great weeks as a closer, it'd be really interesting, because there's no question, Jackie Autry, with all the talk about the lessening of TV revenue, has told people if they get 4 or 6 games out, well, maybe they should market Langston or Finley, which would bring an awful lot on the market. But this guy could put them ahead. But if you ask Whitey Herzog, he'll tell you he thinks the Royals are the team to beat right now. I mean, Cohn and Napier give them the 2 great starting pitchers. They've got Montgomery, who's a tremendous, very underrated closer. But the biggest thing is the defense, right up the middle. Lean and Gagne have given them a great team. You see, Lean wasn't in there today, and still saw what happened. Center fielder Brian McRae is one of the best. and they have started to hit a little bit. And I think there's a little bit of a spirit. They have nothing to lose to prove for that club.
We talk about spirit on the Angels and the Royals. The Orioles had that spirit last year. They're a remarkably likable ball club. But this year, they're in deep trouble. Now, this is a sacrilegious question. Should they sit Cal Ripken? I know about the streak. We all know about the streak. But he's struggling. Of course, he's not alone.
I don't think John Oates can, but I think that they probably should. I don't think there's any question. He's hitting under 200. I know this guy loves to play. This is the thing that he likes to do most. But I think not defensively, but offensively, he needs a couple of days off just to get himself straightened out again.
I don't know whether we'll see that, though. Moving on. It is a sad commentary on the Minnesota Twins season thus far that a 3-game winning streak hasn't been able to get them out of last place in their division. But hope is around the corner for the 91 champs. A 4th win at home against Cleveland could just do the trick. Here we go, highlights from the Hefty Bag Homer Dome. And touchdown, Tommy Kramer strikes out Dave Winfield with the bases loaded. We're tied at 2 after 5. In the 6th, though, the Twins busted open. Chuck New Kids on Knobloch with the base hit, scores Pags. And fitting on Indy 500 day that Pat Mears scores, and it's 5-2 Twins. Then Kirby Puckett and the Union Gap. Base hit to right. They wave Gene Larkin around. The relay to the plate. Not in time. 6-2 Twins. Against Cliff Young in the 7th. Knobloch up the middle. Again scores Pags. Knobloch 4 for 5 with 3 ribbies. Mike Trombley pitching in the 9th gets good defense. Jeff Treadway hits one to right. But Gene Larkin leaps and makes the catch. And the Twins have won 4 straight. They beat the Indians today 8-2. Jim Two Silhouettes on Deshays, the starter and winner, to up his mark to 6-4. As we go inside the numbers, baseball tonight continues. Starting staffs. Who has the worst ERA? The Toronto Blue Jays, the world champs. More on that in a moment. Colorado, you had guessed. Minnesota. That's one of the reasons why they're in the basement. And the Indians. Those are the worst ERAs for starting staffs as we hit almost the end of the month of May. When we return, Mr. Versatility, Tony Phillips, has been contagious in Detroit. The Tigers are playing everywhere, and they're winning everywhere. Stay with us. Means excitement. The front-running Tigers in the AL East try to see what they can do in the Kingdom against the Mariners. Sunday Night Baseball, top of the hour. You know the Detroit Tigers as Murderers Row, the NBA team disguised as a baseball team, the team against whom no lead is safe. But lost in all of the Tiger merriment is the fact that most of Sparky's charges, they're all over the place, literally. Jack Edwards explains.
I played center 1. I played left. I used Peter Barnes at first. I probably have about 10 or 11 at third.
I don't really keep track of it that much.
I used Mickey Pendleton at first. I might have played right for a few innings. Left field 4.
I played everywhere but short and first base and catch.
The Tigers don't have a starting 9. Sparky Anderson says he has a starting 11, thanks in large part to an unusually versatile roster. Offensively, it has worked. Division-leading Detroit is near the top in batting average, home runs, and runs scored.
It's an opportunity to get them all involved in it. Right now, as long as things are going good, as long as they go good, we'll keep everybody involved. I think it's very important to anybody that you're on a ball club, that you're part of the ball club.
He's just putting the best lineup out there, the guys that are doing a job. You don't want someone that's hitting 400 sitting on a bench, or someone that's driving in a lot of runs and coming up with big hits sitting on a bench.
Using 14 position players, Anderson already has used 7 left fielders, 5 center fielders, 4 right fielders, 4 third basemen, 3 first basemen, 2 shortstops, 3 second basemen, and 2 catchers. That may help explain why the Tigers have one of the worst fielding percentages in baseball, but Anderson isn't too concerned.
I enjoy looking up and thinking I have somebody else on a fly ball out and left, and I look up and I say, oh no, I got him out there. You know, so yeah, it's a little different that way. You know, I've had that happen already. I said, oh my Lord, he's out there. But I never said it loud enough for anybody to hear.
I'm not a great outfielder. I'm adequate. You know, how many balls are going to be hit out to me? But I just take the same philosophy as I would as the infield. Try to make the routine plays, and let the great plays take care of themselves.
How many gloves do you have?
It's terrible. I wish they made a glove that I could take for every position, but I usually bring down about 4 gloves.
I only have 2 now.
I've got 3 right now.
I get more tired bringing my gloves down than I do playing sometimes.
Tony Phillips, Mickey Pendleton, and Alan Trammell are regulars without Holmes. Phillips has played 5 positions, Pendleton and Trammell 4 apiece. Skeeter Barnes has played 4 positions, mostly against lefties. This type of uncertainty can cause problems on some teams, but not on the Tigers.
I just come to the ballpark and try not to predict myself where I'm going to play. Just as long as I'm in the lineup, I don't care.
I realize that there's other players here that need to play, and as long as I can get in that 4 or 5 times a week and be prepared, I'm happy with that.
I'm a team player. I've always been a team player, and I relish in the fact that anything I can do to help my team out, that's what I'm here for.
I know as long as I hit, I'll be in the lineup somewhere.
The flexibility has enabled Anderson to carry 2 extra pitchers, and with his bullpen ERA hovering around 4.25, he has needed to. But it has also given him a chance to rotate his everyday players, and if the Tigers should find themselves in the pennant race later this season, that rest could become awfully helpful.
All right, Jack, thank you. Well, obviously, everybody knows that the Tigers have some serious heavy metal, Peter, but you're telling me that the heaviest metal on the team are not the big sluggers.
Well, not really. For me, the season were to end tomorrow, Tony Phillips is going to be the MVP. It's not only that he plays all these positions, but right up at the top of that order, okay, he's not Ricky Henderson, but he establishes, he gets on base 45% of the time, he establishes the Tigers' aggressiveness. And remember, with all the moving around, for all the talk of the defensive problems they've had, still, with that flexibility, Sparky has certain people that are in positions. Travis Fryman is one of the best young players in the game, no question. Whitaker is still a very good second baseman. Kyler in center. Rob Deere is a very underrated right fielder. And Chad Kruger has really come into his own. Nobody knows too much about him. All of a sudden, he's thrown out 48% of the runners, and he's really become an outstanding defensive catcher. That's a pretty good club.
Yeah, Tigers certainly are a pretty good club. We'll see them tonight on Baseball Tonight, on Sunday Night Baseball. Still to come on Baseball Tonight, I'll get it straight, our Who's Hot and Who's Not list. And more highlights. You want hitting? Toronto and Oakland are still doing it. Some wild events in Oakland. We'll show you in a moment. As we do on our Sunday night Baseball Tonight, who's hot and who's not? Well, if you watch Wednesday Night Baseball, you saw Paul Molitor continue his hot streak, and Greg Vaughn with a 2-backer. Hit a home run so fast, it was out. Back, only had time to say 2-back. Over the National League, who's hot? Well, the Phillies are hot. Dave Hollins. Willie McGee at the plate and in the field, as you saw today with the throw to gun down Blauser. Who's not hot? Well, in the American League, after a phenomenal first 5 or 6 weeks, Kirk Gibson has cooled off somewhat, as has Dean Palmer of the Texas Rangers. Over the National League, Hojo continues to struggle. Terry Pendleton not going deep into the dugout. Yesterday, the Oakland goes deep to left. It's gone. We're tied at 11. Top of the 8th. With 2 on, Pat north of the borders to left field. Is there any pitching? The Jays lead it 13-11. And they're still playing. In the bottom of the 9th, Dwayne Psycho Ward is on to try and lead some legitimacy to all this. The Jays lead it 13-11. How are the champs doing thus far compared to last year? Well, the record not that far behind, obviously not including today. Their hitting is much better. They're scoring almost a run better a game. But their ERA is like a run worse a game. And you have to wonder, if you're Toronto, Stewart and Morris, how they're going to survive all year, though Stu has been very good the last couple of times out. Pat Hankins been their best pitcher. Peter, they've surrendered double figures. Their pitching staff has as many times this year, we're not even done with May, as they did all last year. That's their Achilles heel, isn't it?
Terrible. They've got to get Stewart and Morris healthy enough to give them innings. Stottlemyre's got to get healthy, and Guzman's got to get turned around. But I'll tell you, with their pitching problems, they've given other teams in the East a chance to get in it. We've seen the Tigers have talked about them. The Yankees don't go away. They've got great starting pitching. Steve Howe comes back at the end of the week. They still need 3 of the first 4 hitters to come back by the middle of the month. But it's given them a chance to really construct a very useful bench. And I'll tell you something. If Andre Dawson and Calderon and Mike Greenwell ever get healthy and start hitting home runs, with the Red Sox pitching has the best starters and bullpen ERA in the American League right now, they're going to have a chance to stay in this thing, too.
Well, if Toronto's pitching is good, they'll win 96 games like they did last year. If it's not, the door is wide open, as you suggest. Let's go to the National League. The Padres at the Cards. Phil, the final plant here, with a home run, a 3-run shot to right, gives the Padres a 3-0 lead in the first inning. It's 3-2 now in the second inning. And Ozzie Smith with the fly ball to shallow center. Come on, come on, come on, come on. They can't get it. 2-run score, 4-3 Cards. Next man up, told you all year they're going to really like him in St. Louis. Greg Jeffries singles up the middle. Ozzie scores, 5-3 Cards. Next man up, Ray Lankford, now hitting 5th these days. Singles to right center. Jeffries scores at 6-3 Cards. One batter later, it's Mark Whitten. Whitten up the middle. Scores Todd Good housekeeping zeal. A 5-run inning, 7-3 Cards. But Plantier, the former Red Sox, again goes deep. His second of the game, his 6th of the year, 7-4. Bottom of the 6th. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah, it is. It's Ozzie! Ozzie! Gone! Ozzie went 4 for 5 today. 4 RBIs. And St. Louis beat San Diego 10-4. Rene Arocha ups his mark to 4-0. Bruce Hurst was supposed to start. His arm was tight. He didn't get the start. Kerry Taylor went. They expect Hurst to go on Tuesday. Astros at the Marlins. The humidity of southern Florida. Day game, Memorial Day weekend. But Pete Harnish supplied his own heat. Went 7 innings, struck out 6. Greg Life of Briley with the fly ball. Eric Anthony, out of nowhere, makes the catch. Louis Aquino looked good for Florida for Team Teal. Steve Dorsal Finley can't catch up with a fastball. Would anybody score today? They're even looking for anything in the scoreboard. Luis Speedy Gonzalez reaches out. The ball's going to carry in the humidity this summer. It's gone. Home run, 1-0 Stros. Stros pick up insurance in the 8th. When Jeff Brown Paper Bagwell flies it to right. Briley with a beautiful catch, but Candell scores 2-0 Stros. The 9th inning dug along. Kane Jones gets Walt Weiss ground out to second to save it for Pete Harnish. Harnish ups his mark to 5-2, and the Astros beat Florida 2-1. Plenty to come on baseball tonight, including a close-up look at Junior. We join our Sunday night crew. We talk about Ken Griffey Jr., Mariners, Tigers at the top of the hour, and we'll look at quarter pole. Favorite, he's Nintendo's favorite, and this just in, Ken Griffey Jr. is pretty good. For more proof on this matter, let's join our Sunday night crew at the Kingdome. Here's John Miller.
Thank you, Chris, and indeed we are in the Pacific Northwest at the Kingdome. Sunday Night Baseball, the first place Detroit Tigers and Ken Griffey Jr. and the Seattle Mariners. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller, and we're anxious to see Ken Griffey Jr. against all of those sluggers from the Tigers. A couple of weeks ago, we saw Barry Bonds, right now the best player in Major League Baseball. But Ken Griffey Jr., he's much younger, but also extremely talented. Peter Pasquarelli with a look at Ken Griffey Jr.
Well, John, if there's one given in 1993, it's that Barry Bonds is the best player in baseball. I know I'm not going to argue with that, and I don't think either will you. But if anybody's going to challenge Barry Bonds for that exalted title, it's the kid we're going to see tonight, Seattle's Ken Griffey Jr. He's only 23 years old, but he's accomplished things that few people in the history of baseball have accomplished at such a tender age. Maybe what's most impressive about Griffey is his power numbers. He's hit 20 home runs in 3 straight seasons. And the only 3 guys who have done it at an earlier age are a star-crossed great named Tony Conigliaro and 2 Hall of Famers, Mel Ott and Al Kaline. And check out these RBI numbers. 100 RBIs, 2 straight years. And everybody else on the list who did it at a younger age is in Cooperstown. So how does Ken Griffey compare to Barry Bonds? Well, remember, he's 5 years younger.
I would like to stop the film right now on Bonds. Just stop him right in his tracks. And then let the youngster play 6 more years. And then I like to pop them both up. And when we pop them both up, for some crazy reason, I don't know why, I'm going to pop up Griffey. Because I just believe in 6 more years, we're going to see something on our hands that we're looking in the type of Willie Mays.
Now, you're in pretty heavy company when you're being compared to Barry Bonds. But John and Joe, you've seen them both. How do you break them down?
Well, it's a good question, and obviously Barry Bonds is right at the top of the baseball world right now. But he's 6 years older than Ken Griffey Jr., and there are those who think, Joe, Ken Griffey Jr. is just as good, if not better.
Well, I tell you what, both of these guys are great hitters with a lot of power. And the second most important thing, of course, is defense. Both Gold Glove winners, great defensive players. I don't think I've ever seen a young player as good defensively as Ken Griffey Jr. They both throw well, so they have the 5 requisites for being a superstar: running, throwing, hitting with power, and being able to steal a few bases. So I think they're great players, and I agree with you. I think one of these days, Ken Griffey Jr. is going to be the best player in baseball.